Hi guys, welcome to a new video. This video is super special to me because I'm going to be narrating my birthing story. I am almost 2 weeks postpartum now, and I wanted to film this video because ever since I gave birth to my son, all my friends and family wanted to know the birth story, how it happened, when it happened, all the details. And I thought this is a perfect idea to film a video narrating all the tiny details in one place, and so that whoever is interested can watch this video. Also, I love hearing birth stories just because every woman's pregnancy journey is so different, and so is their birth stories. So that's why I'm filming this video, because it gives you an insight of what can happen in a labor room. So also towards the end of this video I'm going to be introducing my son. So if you're interested, please keep on watching. So the story begins on 8th of June, Monday, when I had my weekly appointment with the doctor. I was one day post my due date. So, and that day I had my third membrane sweep done, and the doctor checked my cervix, and she asked me, "Are you sure you don't feel any pain?" Because I was 2 to 3 centimeters dilated, and I was really shocked. She was also shocked because I did not feel any pain at all. So the fact that my cervix was 2 to 3 centimeters dilated was an indication that I was very close to labor. But I told her that I did not feel any pain. So then that day was also the day when we were planning for an induction, because I was one day post my due date. So me and my husband, we thought that we'll get an appointment for an induction delivery on Friday. So that's about it, and I went back home and I was like, okay, we have some clarification that Friday might be the day when I give birth. But it was the same evening I started having little contractions, and being a first time mom, I had no idea how contractions feel like. So I was paying close attention to the pain, and we had joined prenatal classes, and in that classes I learned that unless you have 411 contractions, that is contractions lasting for 1 minute, which is 4 minutes apart for 1 hour, you don't have to go to the hospital. So my husband had downloaded an app, and we were constantly monitoring the contractions. And it was late in the night when the contractions were very severe, and I actually monitored till 1 hour. And when I was close to 1 hour, I told my husband, I think we need to go to the hospital. And it was 2 a.m. and we went to the hospital immediately. So there we went to the triage, and the nurse then checked my cervix. I was 3 centimeters dilated, so they suggested I take a morphine shot. And because I was not 5 or 6 centimeters dilated, there was no rush for them to admit me. And at the same time, the hospital was full, jam-packed, the maternity ward especially, because that hospital was the most sought after hospitals in Calgary. So it was quite full. So I agreed to taking the morphine shot, and thinking that it would help me. So they gave me a pretty high dose of morphine shot, and I went back home. And while on my way back home, we had breakfast, which was a beautiful experience because we could see the sunrise. And the way the morphine shot worked was that I could feel the contractions, and when the contractions were over, I was drowsy. So that I did get a little rest, but we bought around 3 hours, and it was after 3 hours that I just could not bear the contractions. It was way too painful for me, and the time was around 8:30 in the morning. So we both again rushed to the hospital, and this time again we went to the triage and the nurse checked my cervix, and this time I was 5 centimeters dilated. And I still remember the pain. I was so much in pain that I begged for an epidural, and they said they would give me an epidural while moving me to the labor room. I was eagerly waiting for that, and it was around 9:30 by the time the anesthesia specialist came in, and there were nurses and to help me. It was around 9:30, so I was eagerly waiting for the pain to subside, and they were constantly explaining me the procedure of epidural and everything, but I did not pay any attention because of the pain. Soon after, I think after getting an epidural, the doctor said, okay, you know what, just rest for at least 4 or 5 hours, and then we'll see how much you are dilated. So I was trying to sleep, but the contractions were very, very painful, and I think getting an epidural, it takes about 25 to 30 minutes for it to take some effect and give me some pain relief. So I was waiting for that, and soon after 1 hour, I did get some relief, but again I could feel the contractions really well. So at that point, around 10:30, I told the nurse that it's really painful. So then the doctor came in and she said, you know what, let's check the cervix. And she checked the cervix and she gave a wicked laugh, and I did not know what that meant, but she said the baby is ready to come out. And both me and my husband were so shocked that everything was happening so quickly. So she asked the nurse to start the labor process, and as they suggested, I had to start pushing. And I was thinking that I have a lot of time, but the baby was ready to come out and I had no idea how to push, what to do. There were nurses, they were so helpful, and they just guided me what to do, and the doctor was right there. And so my husband was there beside me. He actually helped me push the baby out along with the nurses. He was helping me with the countdown, and he was helping me with some massages. I was in the second stage of labor, that is the pushing stage, when I developed maternal fever, and also my baby developed fetal tachycardia, which means his heart rate was way above normal. So everybody was tensed. The doctor put the NICU team on standby. She explained to me that it was just a precaution, but obviously I was getting worried. While I was pushing, the doctor very politely asked me if she could do a small cut to help the baby come out, and at that point I was almost very tired, and I asked her to do whatever is required to get the baby out, and so that really helped, and somehow I did my best, and I just did what the doctor suggested, and I was keep pushing. And maybe in my mind I was like, okay, maybe I have to do this for a long period of time. But after 50 minutes my son was born, and suddenly she placed the baby on my chest, and we both were so shocked that what, he's already born, he's out. Like, it was a surreal experience. When we saw the baby for the first time, he was so tiny and he was crying so loud. As soon as the baby was out, I was just looking at the baby. It was getting so real that the entire pregnancy journey came right in front of my eyes, and it was just a beautiful experience. And in the meantime, I had no idea when I delivered placenta, which was the third stage of labor. And soon after that, my husband cut the cord, which I always wanted. So I'm really happy that happened. And After that, the baby was kept in the bassinet and my blood pressure suddenly dropped. And I was feeling very, very weak, and the doctor said that I had a huge gush of blood come out after I delivered my son. So maybe that's the reason. But the team of doctor and the nurses were so good. They immediately, again, the anesthesia specialist was brought in the room, and I was put under plenty of IVs, and they were constantly monitoring my heart rate, and my iron count was also low. So everything was working against me, and I was feeling very, very weak. I could not concentrate on the baby. Everything was done by my husband. And then when after a while my blood pressure was coming slowly back to normal. In the meantime, the epidural was still in my body and I could not pee, and they said that it will be there for around 8 hours. So soon after that, everything was back to kind of normal. They told us that we will be discharged the next day, and I was very excited to go back home. But on day 2, my blood test results came back with low iron and hemoglobin count. So they also infused iron in my body. So that's why the doctor wanted me to stay one more night to see how things were going with me, because I was too weak to even stand up and go to the bathroom. So but everything was fine with the baby, so that was really exciting, and we were so excited. My body was so swollen at that point because I had so many IVs, and along with this iron, I just wanted to get better, and everyone's goal was to make me better. Also, the hospital room was really nice with a very nice view. So we had to stay a couple of days in the hospital, and after that they constantly were giving me so many medicines, the pain relief, the iron, and also for the fever. So I was constantly drowsy, and also I had stitches, which was very painful. And there were a couple of tests done for the baby. They checked their jaundice, they had the hearing test done for him, and also some other tests. So that was everything was done, and we were discharged the next day. It was really a different experience because we came to the hospital, just 2 of us, and when we were going back, it was with the baby. And when we came back home, everything was so new to us, and everything was all over the place. Even though we had prepared almost everything for the baby, but there were still things to figure out. But one thing I'm extremely proud of is that both me and my husband did all of this by ourselves. The entire pregnancy journey, labor and delivery, and also the postpartum recovery. I am so happy. I always wanted this to be done on our own, and to be honest, I am really, really happy and impressed by our strength, and that we had each other in this journey, and somehow that made it really easy for a quite extent in managing the baby. And we're still learning. We are new parents, but I don't think we've had arguments or anything. That's about it. Now that you have heard the entire labor story, now it's time to meet my baby. Meet my baby. Oh, his name is Dhruvan, and he is going to be 2 weeks tomorrow. And ever since he was born, our lives have changed forever in a good way. I'm so happy to have him. We are excited new parents, and yes, I am looking forward to this beautiful motherhood journey, and I will definitely share my experiences on the way. And it's actually a very mixed emotions kind of feeling when you have the baby for the first time, because there's already so much going on with your own body, and plus the new baby needs all the attention. So yes, we are learning, we are doing quite well, so I'm really happy and proud of ourselves. And I think this baby is about to be hungry now, so I'm going to end this video by saying more power to all the women out there for doing such an incredible thing with their body. And I'm actually appreciating my body even more now, and the fact that we can make babies and we can provide food for them, it's just amazing. And I will see you in the next video. Until then, bye bye. Say bye.